imagine making like 20 plus thousand pounds a month. I've seen the downs owing more than 50,000 pounds and paying 65,000 pounds in legal fees. Okay, so I just want to tell you my story of how I got into property and where I am in property and how I can help you reach even greater heights than myself, because along the way I faced a lot of issues and I made a lot of mistakes whereby I would not like anyone else to make. It would not be a good thing for me to look at someone else who wants to start their journey in business, who wants to do something in the property industry, to make the same mistakes as I made. So let me tell you my story. Let me tell you how I got here, and I will give you a run through as quick as I can. So I got into property in 2017. So in 2017, I started watching YouTube videos while I was working full time at Mondelez International. It was a very good job. However, there were very long hours, 12-hour shifts. I was working at times 60 hours a week. I got fed up. By the way, that was the same year I was doing my final year of university and I was working full time. So, a lot of things were not making sense to me. So I decided to start looking into property and knowing what property business brings. Now, let's get into how it got to here. In 2018, I ended up going to a crash course. A very famous guy called Samuel Leeds, who is quite huge in the property industry. I had been watching his stuff since 2017. I took some courses from other guys like Tony Law, Your First 4 Houses in 2017. And at that point, I had saved up some money and I was ready to just get into the business. So in 2018, I went to a property crash course. When I got to the crash course, I got super motivated and I bought a course, one of Samuel Lee's course, so that I can learn more. Because in this field, especially if you're coming from different industries, you don't know what you don't know. And so you want to learn as much as you can. So I bought a lot of property courses. I would advise you to buy property courses. I would say only when you are sure that the person that you're buying from is really going to help you. Okay, going forward, I did a property course. In 2018, before my paid for property course for Samuel Leeds, after the crash course now, I had already got a deal. I was already in excited and motivated, so I invested my first £10,000 into a rent-to-rent property deal. If you don't know what a rent-to-rent is, make sure you check my page and you check the other content that I provide. Now look, I got my first rent-to-rent deal. I was excited. I lost the 10K. I lost it within a few months. The landlord asked me to pay 3 months deposit, and I had to furnish the place, and I thought I could do serviced accommodation in a 3-bed house in the middle of Smethwick. Smethwick is not the best area for serviced accommodation in Birmingham. If you know, Smethwick is not the best place for serviced accommodation. Now look, fast forward, I did the course, I did a few things, and then I started getting new deals. That didn't kill me, the fact that I lost £10,000. I decided within myself, I'm gonna keep going. And then in 2019, I got about 10 property deals. Some of them were houses, some of them were blocks of apartments. I just went crazy. So I got that cash flow coming, and in 2020, as 2020 started, I didn't know anything about COVID. I didn't anticipate anything to do with COVID. So I said to myself, you know what? I want to start 2020 crazy. Let me take way more units. So I took about, I'm not too sure the number, but between 5 to 10 more units. So at this point, I was around 15 to 25 serviced accommodation, HMOs, rent to rents, lease options, name any strategy. I went crazy with it. I went absolutely crazy. When I say when COVID hit, it hit me differently. I was not ready. I was not expecting such impact on me, because look, I had only been in the business for about 2 to 3 years, and at that time people started moving out, students started leaving, going back home. No bookings were coming through Airbnbs, nothing was working out. I said to myself, what am I gonna do? I started seeking advice from people around me. Some people were saying, yeah, just get a big bounce back loan. You know, this situation is gonna be over within a couple of months. Some people were telling me to keep my my apartments and the houses that I had on lease. Some were telling me get rid of them. So I didn't really know what to do, and I was inexperienced at managing it all. So, you know, I got into some debts because landlords started saying, oh, I want my rent. So which led me to giving back a lot of properties at that time. So I gave a lot of properties. I kept the ones that I thought, oh, these were in really good locations and the rents were really cheap. However, at that time, it was a huge struggle to find tenants. And so, you know, when I advertised everywhere, almost no one was looking for somewhere to live. A few weeks later, I ended up finding some tenants, some people from, you know, overseas that said, yeah, you know what, we want to live in your property for the next 6 months to a couple years. Even though there's COVID, we work in different industries that are not closing, because, you know, at that time it was lockdown season. Most places, you know, you could either be working from home. You know how COVID was. I don't want to explain it to you. Now, in my negligence and in my lack of experience, lack of managing property, or lack of business experience, to be honest, I then made hasty decisions to rent out the houses and the apartments to people who I didn't really do my due diligence or really know how to control and manage things. Now, because it was lockdown in 2020, I was just receiving my rent. In 2021, I received the shock of my life, because, you know, it started off with police ringing me. Police rang me and they said, are you Mr. Nigel Dube? I said, yes. Oh, this is West Midlands Police. Oh dear, this is West Midlands Police. What have I done now? I didn't think I did something wrong. However, just receiving a call from the police, it was a huge, huge red flag. Now, they said to me, oh, one of your properties that you manage, something has happened. Can you come down quickly? I came down and, you know, I found the place, it was distracted. It was disrupted. There were holes in the ceilings. There were so much. It was a disaster. Now I had to submit IDs and tenancy agreements of the tenants that were staying in the property to the police, and the police started looking for them. Who knows if they found them? You know how the police forces work here in this country. Now look at this. At that time, I started incurring even further debts, because the landlords for those properties where, you know, some things had gone wrong, they started saying, oh, well, you got to fix this. These were your tenants. We've got the lease with you. So then that means that £20,000 debt to fix a house is yours. Think about how many debts I had at this point. I was only 24 years old in property. Oh my goodness. You know, I said to myself, this dream of becoming a millionaire that people sell, this when I went to the crash course, the energy that I thought I received, you know, a lot of things that, you know, started playing back in my mind, saying, you know what, people don't really tell you the hard side of this property business. They don't really tell you the real facts. A lot of people don't know a lot of facts about property itself. And if you don't have experience in property, my suggestion is go and shadow somebody and get some experience before you go and do something for yourself, because you are more likely to get burnt when you walk by yourself, especially after paying a course from a property guru, and then you're left on your own, as I was left on my own. So look at it this way. In 2021, it became a very tough time for me trying to pay off debts. And at that time, I said to myself, things are not going well. It's been COVID. Let me give property a break. So I gave it about 6 months break. And then early in 2022, so this was about January, I started running out of money. I said, what can I do? Should I go back to that job? Imagine when you're an entrepreneur and you're used to the life of being an entrepreneur, and you're used to seeing numbers that are outside of your normal payslip numbers, you then think to yourself, you know what? Let me go back and try again. And that's what I did in 2022. So at the beginning, I already knew landlords. At this point, lots of landlords used to contact me, used to reach me saying, oh, let me give you some properties. Lots of estate agents. In fact, I was friends with a lot of directors in the property industry, in the estate agents industry. I don't know if there's something about me, but I just know how to start a relationship with people. When I speak to someone, for some reason, I know what that reason is, and forgive me if you don't believe, but I know that God's favor is upon me. So when I'm talking to someone, they have the ability, they straight away, they trust me, they like me, they want to build a relationship with myself. So I had this one landlord, was a big time landlord in Birmingham. We went to, he invited me to his house in Edgbaston. Big house. He's an Indian man. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's got a lot of properties in Birmingham. Now, this guy, he said to me, oh, Nigel, tell me a little bit about you. As a young man, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to take care of my family. I'm trying to take care of my future children. I'm trying to, a lot of goals were coming into mind at that time when he was asking me that question. So he said to me, well, okay, let's put that to the test. Let me give you all these units that I have. And he gave me blocks of apartments in Sutton Coldfield. He gave me houses and, all sorts of property types to manage and, and get some income. So, unfortunately, when you see a bunch of keys and when you see opportunity, sometimes you can get excited and forget to be realistic. When I say to be realistic, you need to be honest with yourself. I was not honest with myself, nor was I honest with that landlord to tell him that, you know what, some of these properties that you've given me, especially that huge block that he gave me in Sutton Coldfield, that wasn't going to work for serviced accommodation. It's not the best area. A lot of people, if you're looking for serviced accommodation, you need to look for one unit where it is in a location that's next to either a hotel, a busy area, events, a busy city. And you need to have a lot of attractions to it. But I'm not going to get into that during this video. This is about my story of how I got here. Now, look at it. I messed up. I took those properties, those keys, thinking that things were going to go well. Oh, well, I was so wrong. I tried everything I could, advertised, tried long-term bookings, tried all sorts of things that gurus and mentors recommend. None of it worked. So three months went by. In about March 2022, the landlord got upset Where's my rent? I'm losing money. I'm losing cash flow. I trusted you, young man. Give me back my keys. In fact, this guy, I kid you not, he punched me in the face. He punched me in the face. So I say it lightly now, but it wasn't a good thing then. So now I gave him back his keys. I was a little bit distraught. At that time, I had another deal in Peribah, Birmingham, where I wanted to go into it. I met another investor who was a big time developer, big time property developer in Birmingham again. So he said to me, look, I just want some cash flow. So here's 6,500. Go and use it for that deal. So in that money, there was about 3K of that. That was my sourcing fee. I charge sourcing fee. If you don't know anything about deal sourcing, it's another topic. You can check my pages. You can check the things that I'm into so that you can learn about deal sourcing. So what happened was I trusted the landlord so much. I paid before I signed the contract to begin with, and then also, so I paid rent and deposit before I signed the contract, and then also I kept going back and forth with this landlord because he started saying, oh, he needs to do reference checks with an agent. He kept making different excuses for us not to sign the contract, and time went by and the investor started asking questions, and as you know it, about April or May time, I had to tell the investor that, oh, nothing has transpired with this deal that I thought was going to transpire. I was making a lot of mistakes. I was clouded by a lot of people. I made decisions that were hasty. Now, this investor was upset because this is £6,500 of his money. And I said to him, okay, I will give you back that money, but I will give it to you on a monthly basis. And he goes, nope, I want it now. I said to myself, oh dear, I'm already in close to £100,000 of debts. It's not okay. It's nowhere near, but I think it's close to 50,000. It was close to 50,000 at the time, give or take. And now I have to add 6,500 to this list. I don't think business is for me. So I said, I'm hanging my boots. I said to Mr. Landlord, Mr. Investor, I'm going to go find a job. However, this investor got upset and he started posting about me. He went everywhere on social media. Another red flag, another something that will happen to you. Another something that will happen to you. People will go and post about you on social media. If you're in the property industry, there is no other industry where people go and post about you in social media. You can have a shop, you can start a small local shop, and someone can come and buy, and maybe they buy a bar of chocolate and it was open, or something, it was expired. No one is going on social media and saying that convenience store sold me this bar of chocolate, or they took my money, or I paid for this. And people are not going to do that. They probably might go to a reviews page if there's any reviews, but in the property industry, people will name and shame you, and this is what they love to do. And so when people post you, you feel down. You feel like, oh my goodness, what can I do? You feel like you've killed someone. However, it's a matter of business, and it's a business dispute. If people want to sort things the right way, like you can't call the police on someone to say, oh, they took my £2,000. The police will just tell you, nope, this is a civil matter, which it is a civil matter. So what that's telling someone is that the correct way to sort a problem, especially a money problem, well, I'm going to tell you, you should do due diligence to not get into such problems because of the lessons that I learned and the mistakes that I made, right? Now you are meant to actually go to court. There's proper channels. There are things that you can do. However, this investor, they chose not to follow the proper channels. They chose to use their name and start posting stuff on social media, and they got the attention of big news articles. Big news articles started saying, "Nigel, you are wanted by police." They started saying, "Oh, Nigel, you are a scammer. Nigel, you grow cannabis in properties. Nigel, you do all sorts of wrong." People started saying, "You are not a genuine person. You use fake ID." I have never in my life got a hold of fake ID. I was looking for my driver's license, but I don't want to put my address on here because you never know the enemies out there. But listen to me. The most important thing that I want to say is that at that time I felt so bad. I felt like my world was crashing on me, especially after hanging the boots of properties to say, you know what, it's not working out. Property is not for me. Maybe there's other businesses that I could try, or maybe I should just go back and find a job. My family found out about this. Not only my family, church people, almost everybody that I knew found out. And I received a call one time from a family member of mine who is very close, and they said to me some really, really, really hurtful words at the time. I don't blame them, because if I had seen what was posted about me, if I had seen it, I would have been worried. But now, on the other side, the person that's going through all this, I went through a lot at that time. Thank God, a big property person came to the rescue, and his name is Samuel Leeds. I'm gonna do, and probably if you wanted, another talk about Samuel Leeds, but Samuel Leeds came to the rescue, and he taught me about opening something called crowd justice, so I can defend myself, so I can sue the people who are naming and shaming me, and they're saying defamatory words. And so all of those people, I found a solicitor who could represent me, a very good solicitor. In fact, they were very, very expensive. They came with the team and all these things. And so I had to raise funds to pay for these legal fees. So that's what happened. So between 2022 and the entirety of 2023, until the very last day of 2023 is when the case became closed, is when I finally, the God that I serve helped me win that case. So when I say I won, the matter was settled. I can't get into details about the case itself or who was, saying defamatory things to me, just for legal reasons. But all those people, they ended up removing all those things on social media, on the news articles. Every single thing was removed. So for about a year and a half, while I was going through this legal battle, going through a lot of things in my life, I then decided to say, you know what, I'm not taking any more rent-to-rent deals. I'm just gonna get into mentoring people on how to find rent-to-rent deals, how to sell them, and how to not make the same mistakes as I had made at that time period. So that's what I did. I helped a lot of people during that time, a lot of people who are successful in the industry now, and some people I don't know, I have not they've not hit me back since that time. But at the time, they were very happy. They were saying some really good things. I taught a lot of people how to source properties, how to negotiate. A lot of people I helped at that time. So this was between July 2022 to December 2023. In 2024, I then decided, you know what? Because I got married in 2024 to my beautiful wife. I thank God for her. So I then decided, you know what? Let me have some cash flow. Let me take some rent-to-rent deals. And then let me also, through a vision that I had when I was praying. By the way, I believe in Jesus. If you do not know the Lord, please, you can message me. You can read the Bible. You can find a local church near you. Please, I encourage you to know the Lord and personal Savior, whose name is Jesus. Anyway, putting that to aside. Now, what happened is I decided to build a team of property sourcers so that they can source. Because, I kept hearing for years by a lot of business people that if you are the person working in the business, it's not really a business. So I said to myself, okay, how can I change? How can I be creative in the property industry to make a difference? So I decided to build a team. So we built a team. It was supposed to be a very small team, to be honest, maybe 5 or 6 people. For some reason, it became about 30 plus people who were in my sourcing team. We were selling deals. Some people, were not selling because they were new. So I still had to train them, teach them about property, teach them things. You wouldn't believe some people had paid thousands and thousands of pounds and they didn't know anywhere near the information that I knew. Now to cut a long story short, I made a mistake in one of my rent-to-rent deals in December 2024. So this is quite recent. The mistake that I made was I made the rookiest error. I was going on holiday and the landlord sent me a contract that I paid for. I paid for the solicitor to draw a contract on my behalf and on the landlord's behalf. And this same landlord who I had specifically requested to ask the solicitor to put terms of paying rent on a monthly basis, they decided to put it on a quarterly rent basis. And I made the rookiest errors. This is what I was saying. You need to learn from other people's mistakes and you can learn from mine so that you don't make the same mistakes. Now, hands down, it's not something I would ever do again. I just signed it. I had a joint venture partner who pulled out on me last minute, so I had to find another joint venture partner. And unfortunately, we had been given a rent-free period to do up this property of 1 month. Now, the state of the property was worse than what we actually had seen. When you go to view properties, you must properly assess. And I've been in the business for the last 7 years. I'm used to assessing properties, but this property is something that I had not seen before. It's leaks that were hidden in places that I had not seen before. The floorboards were missing because I had agreed to do the flooring. A lot of things, it was an entire refurb and I needed people to help me. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, so we went over our rent-free period time. Now the landlord calls me saying, rent is due. You are over the time and you need to pay it quarterly. I said, quarterly? Hang on, Mr. Landlord, that was not our agreement. He said, well, it is. Go and look into the agreement. I went into the agreement and I looked. Oh my goodness me. Here I am. And I owe somebody thousands and thousands of pounds that I do not have, that I had not budgeted off. It was a mess. Unfortunately, the situation is still under resolution. However, the good news is I am in the process of completely fixing it. Now, that's the good news. So, but today, where I am, I want to say to you, I am a property entrepreneur. I have seen it all. I have seen all the ups. I have seen revenues beyond my own understanding, and I've seen losses beyond my own understanding. But here's what I do take. I don't regret. I do not regret going through what I went through. However, I do acknowledge that I learned from my mistakes, and I want to apologize to anyone, especially if they are watching and they were part of my journey in the losses. If they were part of my journey in the losses, if you are a mentee, a student, somebody who's made money from me, oh, congratulations to you. But if you are a person who has lost money as a result of Nigel Dube, I do sincerely apologize, and I can, for a fact, if it's not resolved, if it has been resolved, like a lot of people, I'm glad, happy, good news. However, if it is not, I am here to take responsibility and sort my problems out as a man. Now, it is very important to know that I'm a man who has learned a lot of business lessons. Some of the lessons that I learned have made other people millionaires. There are people out there that can testify to that. Some of the lessons that I learned has saved people from losing money or from going into joint venture partnerships with people that were going to lose them a lot of money. I am here to share my lessons with you, and I am here to share my skills with you. I am here to help anybody who wants to start their property journey. And yes, a lot of these gurus will give you success stories of driving Lamborghinis. I made money enough to drive a Lamborghini, and I lost money enough to buy a Lamborghini. So I do know where you can avoid the same mistakes so that you can continuously walk on a path of success. It's not a one-day thing. I've been in this business for more than 7 years. I am here to help. My name is Nigel Dube. If you ask a lot of people who actually know me, they know that I have helped them far beyond what they would have committed to me, whether it's in time, whether it's in financial commitment, whatever it is. I am here to serve you, to help you become financially free from the yoke of the enemy. Because if you want to get into business, you are already awoke. You already know that the 9-to-5 life is not for you. You already know that you are called for a greater purpose. You want to do things in your life that will help other people, and I am here to help you get on that journey. One thing that I know that I'm good at is I am good at convincing people to do things. And that is a skill that you need, especially if you're in business or if you are in the property industry. You need to learn the skill of communicating with people, the skill of negotiating deals. You won't believe that there are deals where people have walked in and they've paid double the amount of money that I have paid in the same deal. Or I've walked into deals and I've not paid a single penny. And I've walked into places, I want to pray that God's favor works upon you too. That you too can meet landlords that I've met, landlords that I'm still friends with to this day. You can have clients that I'm still friends with to this day. You can help people. The amount of people I've helped businesses thrive. I've helped vulnerable people get homes. I source properties for social housing companies. I have sourced properties that have helped disabled people, that have helped homeless people, that have helped children, that have helped a lot of things. I have myself paid my own funds in certain things. I have negotiated in the favor of the people who will be using the place so that, that person that's living in that property has a good quality of life. I tell landlords, if the quality of paint is not greater than the quality of paint that is in my house, then that property is not good for anyone to live in. A lot of landlords will take advantage of you if you don't know what you're doing in the property industry. People do not tell you these things. People do not tell you that landlords are looking for vulnerable people to take advantage of. People don't tell you that businesses are looking for people that they can extort money from or take advantage of. Now, my name is Nigel Dube. I have learned a lot of lessons in the property industry. I have made a lot of money. I have lost a lot of money. I've had ups and downs. I am the person who will tell you the truth because I walk in the truth. I am a child of the living God. I was dishonest for the most part of my life. Anyone who tells you that they're the perfect person and all these things, they lie. A lot of gurus, they lie just to get your money. I know the tactics of property gurus because I have trained people, so I know their tactics, so I can help you avoid their tactics. People tell me, oh Nigel, I've lost £12,000 in an academy. I don't even have £250 to give you. I don't even have £50 to my name. I've spent £40,000 on a course. The property, the business industry is not what it seems. It's all a lie. A lie, a lie, a lie, a lie, a lie, a lie. And I am here to shed the truth because I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose because I've got everything to gain. So yeah, that is my story. My name is Nigel Dube. I am so honored that you've watched my story, all the parts. You've got to this point. If you need help in finding property deals, in starting property business, in managing a team, in avoiding mistakes, in negotiating with landlords, in negotiating with sellers, calculating costs, I am here to help. And I hope we will meet.